Good evening, everybody. This is Michael Winiger, CEO of Essanté Organics. And tonight, let me tell you, whoa, it is so awesome to have when Todd's at our events, when he speaks for our company. And I got to tell you, I mean, he's awesome. He's been around the world. This is what he's been doing. I've known Todd almost my entire career in this industry, in this space. And tell you what, I know him so long that we didn't have Zooms then. We had AOL chat rooms. We you would just type it in there. And but he's a wonderful speaker, you guys, and his material, I'm telling you, if he gives out anything, things that you can get is his little black book of scripts is sitting right on my brother's desk. We listen to it a lot, and that's the old version. He's got the new version, but you can learn a lot from this man tonight. And I'm very thankful, humbled, and grateful that he was able to come on and spend some time with us. And what's he going to talk about? We'll find out because we just it's what we do. And let me tell you, here's the one thing that I like about Todd Falcone because he's the only guy that I know that does this. I'm sure there's many, but they're somewhere out there. But I shoot from the hip, talk from the heart, and I've never have notes prepare or anything like that. I just speak, and I heard him talking like that. So, Mr. Todd, thank you for being here. Thank you. It's your line, your
Mr.
floor.
Michael, thank you. Thank you. Hopefully I'm coming in loud and clear. I would actually love to see all of you guys. So I'm imagining I'm at a seminar and everybody's sleeping right now. So it would be really cool if all of those names turned into cameras, unless for some reason you're in the shower. That would be a beautiful thing. So yeah, that would be awesome. If you can turn your camera on, I'd love to see you guys. So first of all, well, it's a pleasure to be here. I appreciate JJ. What's up? Good to see you. Say hello to Angie for me. So the question I get from literally every audience is, okay, how do I make it in this business? How do I make this a career? How do I make money? How do I get to my first 1,000 a month? How do I get to 10 grand a month? And so, I mean, every day, all month long, when I'm doing Zooms like this, and on the weekends when I'm out speaking, like I'm here to share based on the things that have worked well for me in the field. I've been in the space for 35 years. It's a long time. I also want to I want to put this out here as we get going. I'm assuming people can chat in the comments. Is that right? Okay, looks like you can. So, like, what's on your mind? Like, you've got somebody who's got 3.5 decades of being in this business that is here to serve tonight. So, if there's something on your mind, there's a question, you'd like to learn something, you're whatever it is. Like, if you could, if I'll phrase it this way. If you had the opportunity of sitting down one-on-one with me and you could prod me with questions about how I've achieved success over the last 3.5 decades, what would those questions be? So I'll keep an eye on the chat, and if you want to put a question in there, feel free to do so. And Mike, called Michael like 20 minutes ago, and I'm like, what did you tell him I'm going to talk about tonight? He said I didn't tell him anything. So I guess I'm gonna kind of bounce around. I actually spent most of today producing a video series that I'm going to be releasing on Monday. It's a totally free video series, and there are 11 videos that highlight what I believe are 11 of the most important strategies and things to decision points, action steps, strategies that you should be applying into your business to achieve success. In fact, I'll probably share from some of those. And so instead of me like going fundamental, step one, step two, step three, I'm gonna go block by block, and I'm gonna talk about a few items that have served me well in hopes that you guys will take the information and act on it. It's one thing like, and I had to Google this a while ago. We've all heard the phrase knowledge is power, right? And that was the person who coined that term apparently was Sir Francis Bacon in the 1800s, but he's not around to argue with me. But I would say that knowledge is powerless until it's put to use. I mean, so many people like seek out information, and it's the few who actually act on the information that makes the biggest difference. So I hope whatever I share with you tonight you act on it. So I see one question in there. I will definitely, if you pile questions in there, happy to address those. Ron, I see your question. But the first thing I want to say is this. So there's something I've been teaching for years, and it's the concept of a power hour. And a power hour is essentially just like it sounds. It's 60 minutes, no less, of uninterrupted business building time. And when I mean business building time, that means like this is my desk, sitting at your desk or wherever you work with a total focus of no less than 60 minutes of doing only one activity. And what might you guess that activity would be? If we're talking about building a network marketing business, just in the chat, in the comments, what might that activity be? So I might just test you a little bit. What do you think that number one activity is that's going to help you make money here with Essanté? Hey, Jane, good to see you as well. Okay, so calling, right? Linda, exposure, inviting, prospecting. And the thing about a power hour that's so interesting is like a lot of times people get up and they'll do a Facebook post and maybe they'll text somebody or they'll do a DM on Instagram and then they go about their day. And it's like 3 hours later, maybe they do another reach out. And then 4 hours later, maybe they do another one. And it's kind of difficult, at least from my experience, to get into any kind of groove. It's like you if you do one here and then one there and then one 2 days later, uh, you can't really get into a state of flow. It's like you found your mojo, you found your state of flow, you got into a groove. If you can make the commitment, and I think like first of all, the only thing that's going to truly lead you to revenue here is exposure. Like I mean, you could try to argue with me on that, but you'll probably lose the argument because there's nothing that's more important. I'm not saying there aren't other things that are important, but that is the single most important thing that's going to lead you to new customers and new reps on your team. So if you were to just, and I don't know how many of you actually do this, where I'm going to sit down and I'm not going to check Facebook. I'm not going to check my email. I'm not going to go downstairs and make a sandwich. I'm not going to call my brother to say what's up and how's it going unless I'm introducing him to the business. I'm not going to sift through. The only thing that I'm doing during the 60 minutes is I'm doing reach outs, whether it's text, DM, messaging somebody on Facebook. I guess DM would be more Instagram, messaging somebody on Facebook, sending somebody an email, picking up the phone and making a call. What's crazy is, especially, and I know this because I've been doing network marketing for so long, a lot of people struggle with their self-confidence. And it's like the first couple phone calls, I got butterflies in my stomach. And what happens if they reject me or they don't respond favorably? What if I screw up? Whatever the what ifs are. And so if you were to, and I don't know, I mean, if somebody is completely stuck, this is like the greatest thing that somebody can do if they're 100% stuck and they are in a paralysis mode, which unfortunately I find a lot of people in that state sometimes, especially early on in network marketing. If you can make one call, and even if you didn't do a great job, like if you saw me making calls 35 years ago, you guys would probably be laughing because I was terrible. I was dry mouth, heart pounding, sweaty. You know, sweat was like literally coming off of my brow. I stuttered when I talked, and I don't even stutter, but my nervousness made me stutter. But if you can survive one reach out, you could survive 1,000 reach outs, but it's one reach out at a time, one invite, one exposure at a time. And if you do one now, and then it's not until 3 days later that you do the next one, there's no way that you can get into that groove. But if you do one now, maybe it's a little awkward, maybe it's a little uncomfortable, maybe I was a little scared, but then I do another one, and this one was slightly better, but still, I didn't really feel like I was as good as I could be. And then you do another one, and another one, and another one, and another one, and you continue doing that. The next thing it's like you took something that was kind of difficult to move, and then all of a sudden, it seems to be fluid and easy. And I want prospecting and network marketing to be fluid and easy for all of you. Because I know, having done this for so long and having come from that position myself of it, not being so fluid and easy, that the way to the smoothness, if you will, is the repetitious exposure to the same activity in a short amount of time. And the reality is, which is interesting, you'll do more in 60 minutes than most people do in probably a month. And I'll share with you I'll share with you a couple of interesting stories. And another thing is like this. So the first of all, the power hour is blocked out in your calendar. It's here's this 1 hour. It's like an unbreakable appointment. 60 minutes, no less. You can do more if you want, but no less. No interruptions. It's blocked out in your calendar. If you're part-time, I would suggest at least 1 power hour a day. If you have more available time or you're full-time in the business, maybe you do a couple power hours each day. And I think you'll find yourself feeling a lot more comfortable and confident with regard to reaching out because you've compressed those reach outs in a shorter period of time. Now, one other thing I want to say, and this is another, when you're talking to prospects, how many times have you heard, I don't have the time? I'm just curious, like in the comments, have you heard from a prospect, I don't have the time? Or by a show of hands? You guys are over here. So if I'm looking over here, that's where you guys are. My camera's over here. So the two biggest objections that we get when it comes to approaching somebody about a business, Joe says lots. Yeah, right. So is I don't have the time and I don't have the money. Those are literally the two biggest, most common objections. Sure, we get, I need to think about it. How much money are you making? Is this one of those things? I tried one of them. It doesn't work. I don't, I don't like sales, whatever. But the two most common are I don't have the time and I don't have the money, which to me are the two biggest reasons why you should do this business, right? It's like, it's going to give me more time and it's going to give me more money. And that's this whole business is about leverage, being able to earn income on the efforts of other people. And it's going to help you get more free time. It's going to help you earn more money. So again, even though those are the two biggest objections in my mind, those are the two biggest reasons why somebody should pursue one of these businesses. And then what happens when you have somebody on your team who comes in and they're like, they don't like you recruited somebody and they don't have the time. So they at least took the initiative to join the business. And then they're like, I don't have the time. Well, here's something. Most people need to look at their time differently. Okay. I'm going to tell you a quick story about this. I had this guy, Mark Weezer. Mark Weezer was in my business. This goes back to, I don't know, mid 1990s. And Mark is in my business. He comes to me. He was second level to me in this organization. And I always liked Mark. I always thought Mark had the capacity to succeed in the business and enjoyed working with him. And he called me one day and he said, hey, I'm quitting. And I'm like, what? He said, yeah, he goes, I don't have the time to do this business, man. He goes, I want to do it, but I don't have the time. And I'm like, well, tell me about your schedule. And he's like, well, I work like 70 hours a week. I'm super involved with my church, my family. I've got a 2-hour commute every day. And I was like, whoa. So I locked in on the commute. I'm like, well, you're commuting an hour into work and an hour home. And he's like, no, I'm commuting 2 hours into work and 2 hours home. He was living in Riverside, California, and he was commuting to LA. Can you imagine 2 hours in your car on the way in and on the way home? And I'm like, well, what are you doing? And he goes, you're not even gonna like my answer. He goes, I'm not even using it as a roving university. I'm listening to talk radio. And I was like, bro, look. And this is when cell phones, like they didn't come with unlimited minutes. And I said, I go, do you want to succeed here? And he said, I do. I said, well, look, here's the deal. Call your cell phone company as soon as you can. Call them, max out your minutes, increase the amount of minutes available to you. That was expensive back in the day. Now we all get unlimited minutes. And I said, get your prospect list ready the night before you go to work. Print it out on like some piece of paper, as big a font as you can, and tape that thing onto your dashboard. On the way into work, call those people and, don't get in an accident, be safe. But that's why big numbers, big letters. And then I'll be available for you for 3-way calls and support. And this guy, I love it when I teach something to somebody and they actually do it. So like 7:30 the next morning, my phone rings and it's Mark. He goes, Todd, you available for a 3-way call? I'm like, yeah. 20 minutes after that, another 3-way call. 15 minutes after that, another three-way call. This guy hit me with more third-party validation, three-way calls than my entire organization combined. And in less than 12 months, we took this dude from quitting to making over $10,000 a month. And he did it 100% in his car. He went on to, like, that year, and you could do the math on it. Somebody's got a calculator there. He recruited over 200 people frontline personally that year. I don't know what that is. I think that's over 20 a month, if I'm not mistaken. That's a lot of people. And he did it all in his car. And then I have a coaching client. I actually interviewed her, I don't know, like a month ago. And she had a very short commute. Her commute was 5 minutes. She'd leave her house and she blinked and she was had her office. She worked in a medical facility. She worked for like 10, 12 hours a day. And I don't remember what her job was, but she had no access to her cell phone at work. So she couldn't even sneak out and make a call or do a reach out. So basically her cell phone was on lockdown at work. And what she did is first of all, they made a decision. It was her first network marketing business ever. We're going to do this. We're committed to it. She called a person on the way into work and she basically said, "Hey, John, what's up? Blah, blah, blah. Javier and I are launching this business. I'd love to show you what we're up to. If I send you this video, would you take the time to take a look at it sometime today? And I'll call you on the way back from work. I got to go. I'm in the parking lot." That's how it worked. So she called one person on the way to work. She called that person on the way home. She called a different person every day, 5 days a week, that entire first year. And by the end of the first year, she had made over 6 figures. Now, results typical? I don't know. I mean, most people probably won't do that. But what it does is it shows you that even if you're incredibly busy, you need to look at your time differently. So for me, like, it's 6 minutes to my post office box. It's 8 minutes to my grocery store. It's 25 to 30 minutes to the mountain for me to go skiing. Those are like common drives for me. Before I leave my driveway, I'm on the phone. So for me to go pick up the mail, that's 1 or 2 phone calls on the way down and 1 or 2 phone calls on the way home. If I go to the grocery store, that's 1 or 2 phone calls. If I go to the mountain, I can make 2, 3, 4 phone calls on the way up and 2, 3, 4 on the way back. Some of you have probably heard the phrase, luck is when preparedness meets opportunity. So if you leave for work or if you're running errands and your stuff doesn't come with you, you're not going to be able to take advantage of those unique opportunities as they present themselves during the day. I call it taking advantage of the crooks and crannies of your day, these little pockets of time, these in-between times. And so maybe you're struggling with, I don't have enough time. It's about looking at your time in a different way than perhaps you have in the past. And then being prepared to take advantage of that time when you got this little break. It might be a break at work. I mean, you guys have it so easy. It's ridiculous. I failed in network marketing my first 2. Well, fail's a pretty strong word. I didn't make money my first 2 years in network marketing. Quit my job 90 days in and ran out of money, had to run home and live in the bunk beds at the parents' house to regroup financially when I was 22. But I knew I had to do network marketing. So I found another network marketing company because my mom thought network marketing didn't work, and now I'm living under her roof. That's pretty humbling after college. You graduate from college, you start your first business, and then you're at home in the bunk beds. I found another network marketing company, and I was having my check and my product shipped to a friend's house because if my mom found out I was doing network marketing under her roof, I would have got kicked out of the house. So I'm leaving the house with a pager and a roll of quarters to make prospecting calls. I would literally be in a phone booth. Can we even find phone booths anymore? I mean, in Europe, maybe you can't find them anywhere in the US. I haven't seen one. I can't remember how long. In fact, normally if I see a phone booth, I actually take a picture of it because it's so odd these days, right? But, you know, let's say you go to work every day and maybe you look at your work day, but you got a lunch break, you got a break, and you're taking the break or you're taking lunch. For me, when I went back into network marketing part-time, I would spend my entire lunch break. Maybe I was choking down a sandwich, but I was making calls at the same time at a payphone. So everybody even the ones that say they don't have the time, they have the time. I've taken some of the busiest people who say, I don't have the time, and we've been able to find the time for them to go and build their business. It's a matter of looking at your time differently, and it's a matter of prioritizing, because it's really interesting. If something is that important to you, isn't it fascinating how you always find the time to do something that you really want? Like, or even acquire. It's like, I really want that thing so bad, whatever it is that, I don't know. I've got to get a new laptop for trading stock. So it's not like I can't afford it. I just haven't went to go buy it. But let's say you've got your eyes on this gaming laptop, and it's like you're focused on the gaming laptop, and maybe right now you can't afford it, but you're so set on, I got to get the gaming laptop. I'm buying a gaming laptop for trading because it just happens to be faster than other laptops. And I feel like I'm like, I don't know what the right word is. I'm binging for the laptop right now, right? So I'm, because you're so focused on that thing, and even though right now you can't afford it, but and I'm sure you guys can all think of things in your life that you acquired or you did that you got that thing or you experienced that experience because you were so focused on it that you did whatever you had to do to make it happen. So my question is, with regard to this business, like, how bad do you want it? You guys represent an amazing array of super high quality products that you already know people can benefit from if you can just get them to try them. And being successful in a network marketing business requires a degree of discipline. And one thing that's lacking, which is interesting, like our whole lives, we're held accountable by other people. When you're born, your parents watch over you, make sure you don't stick your fingers in the light socket, bump your head into the side of the table so they put pads on it. And then you go to school and your teachers say, don't do that. You know, you're late, get back from recess, whatever it is, right? So it's first your parents, then your parents and your teachers, then it's your parents' bosses and your teachers, then you find yourself here. And man, you can lay on the couch all day and Michael's not going to call you. He probably would. I don't know, but I mean, knowing Michael, he'd probably call you. But the reality is, in most cases, you're not going to get the phone call. Your sponsor is going to be there and they're eager to help you and get things moving. But if you're not showing up for a period of time, at some point, they're going to go find somebody else who will. Make sense? There's nothing red in here. It's just white. It's just pure water. I know you guys are all drinking the reds right now. So if I would have known, I would have brought my red cup up here so I could have shown that I was drinking something red. So accountability lacks in this business. One thing I want to say is this. Like, I don't know where everybody is here, how committed you are, how your business is going. I mean, we have different people and I just see names and some faces. So I don't know what your situation is, but years ago, I always had people in my organizations that wanted to, but they couldn't seem to. It's like there were some people that were doing, and then there were people that were there and they said that they wanted to, but then they just couldn't get around to it. And they were frustrated by it. It's like, man, I want to do, but I just can't, I keep getting in my own way is like a term that I would commonly hear. And so back when I was active in the field, I started building accountability into something where there was no accountability. I mean, there's no rules here. I mean, we got policies and procedures, right? But most of you guys probably haven't read them. I mean, I don't know any networkers hardly that have ever actually read their policies and procedures. Okay, let's do a quiz here. The people that I can see, have you read your policies and procedures that you have as none of you? I don't see it. Well, yeah, of course, JJ, president. So he knows the policies and procedures. But it's funny because, like, okay, those are the rules. By the way, just in case you didn't know, that's the rules you need to abide by. That's like a contractual agreement that you have as an independent distributor of Essanté Organics. That's maybe you should take the time to read them someday. It would be good. I tried. Yeah, I mean, they're boring, right? You start reading through them, you're like, oh, this is like legalese or something. But that's like the only set of rules. So we've got to set our own rules because, again, nobody's going to yell at you for not showing up. Your sponsor will be there for a while, but if you keep flaking, they're going to go find somebody else to work with. So one thing that you can do is you can create your own set of rules. And I don't know if I talked about this a few trainings ago or not, but this is worthy of repeating if I did. One thing that I started doing a few years ago, I started really aggressively teaching it was, look, you guys are all here because you want to win. You're not. Did anybody get forced to be here? Anybody get forced? You guys are. Nobody got drug here, right? You guys all came here on your own accord, right? I'm assuming that's the case. Okay, so and why did you show up? Because okay, here's a speaker guy that's got a bunch of experience in network marketing that may have something to teach me, and maybe I can glean something from him in hopes that it'll work in my business so I can make more money. And so I started teaching this concept because there's no guardrails, there's no rules, there's no speed limit. And the way I phrase this is kind of ridiculous, but when we were in that 2 year period of time where we couldn't leave our houses, you guys remember that? Remember that time? I won't even mention the name, but we couldn't leave the houses. And during that time, this is when I really started teaching. It was in 2020. I'm like, hey, how about this? Since we don't have any rules really other than policies and procedures, what if you built a rule? And I'll tell you right now that if you actually act upon what I'm going to share with you right now, you will never have a problem making money in network marketing. Even if you're not good. I mean, if you're like I was way back in the day, lacking in skills, fearful, scared basically of your own shadow, every prospect is intimidating to you, you will win. Now, I'm not going to say when you will win. It might happen in 3 months, a year, 2 years, but you can't do what I'm about to share with you and not achieve success. It is literally impossible. And so there's a law in the United States called indecent exposure. You guys heard of that law? What's that mean? That means you can't go out, run around in public naked, basically, right? And we typically don't see that. I don't know, like I don't typically see people running around naked, do you? Why don't we see that? Why is that? I mean, even people that are super proud of their bodies and their figures and their six-pack abs and their muscles, why don't we see it? Because it's against the law. So no sane human being is gonna, like, imagine you guys leave the Zoom, you got to go to the grocery store, you take all your clothes off, grab the grocery cart, maybe you got your flip-flops on because you don't want to get your feet dirty, and you're like putting the tomatoes and the eggs and stuff in the grocery cart. You're not going to do it if you're a sane human being because somebody's going to call the cops and your butt, your cold, naked butt is going to be on the back seat of a cop car. So you don't do it. So I know this is kind of a ridiculous example. I don't even know why I used this example, to be honest with you. It just came out of my head the first time I trained on it, but it worked, so I'll stick with it. So we don't break that law because the consequences are significant, right? Jail. Now, we break the law of 59 and a 55. Maybe we push it to 62 and a 55. And we stretch it, but I don't know. Any of you guys, if the speed limit's 55, you guys go 120? Anybody go 120? Nobody? No, we don't have any crazy people that go 120? I mean, I like to go 120 in a nice car that's capable of it. Can you, like, you ain't going to do it because what happens? You go 120 and a 55, you're going to jail. What is that? Reckless endangerment, reckless driving? So you don't do it. So there are laws that we abide by, but you don't have a law in network marketing until now. So here's the new law that you create for yourself. You already abide by somebody else's law, which is I ain't going out of the house naked. But here's the new law for you. And I want you to think about this. Never does a day pass until I've done X. Or my day is never complete until I've done blank. And here's what the X or the blank is. Daily minimum number of intentional business building reach outs. So and you pick the number. This isn't for me to pick. This is for you to pick. And I want you to understand something. This is not a goal. Okay. A goal is something that you're striving to achieve. Okay. I want to make $100,000 by the end of this year, by December 31st of 2025. I'm willing to give this and I'm willing to give up this in the potential attainment of that goal. And I got my eye on the prize, but I might fall short or I might hit the goal. I might surpass it, but it's not a guarantee. Goals are things that we shoot for. This isn't a goal. This is a daily rule, a daily law. And so you pick a number that you, based on the amount of time you have available on a daily basis to put into your business, that you know for sure, 100% for sure, that you can hit without fail. Even on the busiest of days when everything falls apart, like I don't know, Murphy's Law or whatever. It's like when it rains, it pours, and when something falls apart, everything falls apart. And you're like, oh my gosh, I don't even know how I made it through today. All this thing happened, that crashed, the thing broke, my sink was leaking, the tub flew out of the house. I don't know, whatever. So regardless of what happens, you want to set a number that now 0 is not a number. Okay. So just so you know, 0 is not a number. 1 is the first number. And honestly, even if it's 1 a day, and I'm not saying that, by the way, this is the bare minimum number of intentional business building reach outs. And I will define what an intentional business building reach out is here in a second, just for clarification. I don't think, even if you're a big thinker, you should be going 20. You might strive for 20. And I love big thinkers, but there's no way you're going to be able to every single day without fail that you will be able to hit 20. But okay, let me, for the people that I can see your faces, do you think it's feasible that if your very existence on planet Earth depended on it, that you could, like, you wouldn't be here anymore if you didn't reach out to 5 people every day and quickly invite them to take a look at Essanté? How many of you, by a show of like thumbs up, could probably do that? Your life depended on it. It ain't that hard. And truth be told, I could stop the Zoom right now and I don't even, what, 6:08? By 6:30, I could execute 5 reach outs and invites. I could just Michael, Todd Falcone, what's up? I just launched this business. I'd love to show you what I'm up to. If I sent you this 10-minute video, when could you take 10 minutes to take a peek at it? Randy, hey, look, do you keep your options open at all in terms of making money outside of what you're currently doing? I'd love to show you what I'm up to. There could be a myriad of different ways you do that, but an intentional business building reach out is where you reach out with intent. The intent to do what? To talk to them about what you're doing with Essanté. That's what an intentional business building reach out is. The reason I say you can't fail, and I'm not one of those coaches or trainers that grabs somebody and puts them on the spot, makes them uncomfortable. I've worked with guys like that. You're in a room with 20 people and I call out Michael and I'm like, okay, Michael, what did you do today? Let me see your reports. Pull out your journal. I don't do that. But look, this is a business. You guys are here because you want to win in business. And it requires a degree of discipline. And if you can build rules into your life, you can change everything for you. And so my encouragement for you guys is that you sit down with yourself tonight and you go, that crazy Falcone guy had a point. Maybe I'm being too easy on myself. Maybe I ought to give myself a rule or a law in my life. It might be 2 a day. It might be 5 a day. It might be 1 a day. I don't know if it's going to be 10 a day, even though, you can hit 10. This is the minimum. So now, if we don't have quitting time, as they say in most occupations where you go into work at 9, you quit at 5. But let's say it's 4:45 in the afternoon and your number that you gave for yourself is 5. But right now you're at 3. Are you done? Are you done? All you guys? Okay, so you guys clearly get what I'm sharing with you here. When I do this, I like to be as vividly clear as possible. I don't want to leave like Todd. I didn't quite understand what you were saying there. So I want you guys to clearly get this. And somebody do the math for me. Somebody got a calculator, a mathematical brain. It's not that hard. If you did 2 a day, 5 days a week for 52 weeks, how many is that? Pretty easy math. What is that? 104. What is that? 2 a day, 5 days a week, 10 a week. Somebody get a 500. Is that 520? That's 520. 520 individual reach outs in a single year, doing 2 a day. You already put yourself in the position of doing more than probably 99% of network marketers. And hold on a second. Oh my gosh. I'm exhausted. 2 a day. I mean, don't you feel exhausted? Like that's so much. Right. It's nothing. It's 2 a day. But even, I mean, if you're really skilled, you'll get more result. The more skills you have, the better the result that you're going to get. But even if you're not that great, you're going to stumble across somebody. You're going to stumble across a JJ that goes, dude, I'm into organic, bro. I'm like, my whole life is organic. You have a company that's all focused on organic, super clean. What? Tell me about it. Even if you're like JJ or organic companies, and I can't even get the words out of my mouth. Wait, Todd, did you just say organic? You got my attention, right? Or did you just say make extra money? Wait, what? Wait, did I hear money out of your mouth? I couldn't hear anything else, but I heard something about making money. What are you talking about? Even if you're, and nobody's going to be that bad. I'm obviously kind of being ridiculous here. But just imagine, where will your business be in 365 days if you laid that rule out and you live by that rule? And then now I want you, and you don't have to, I'm not asking anybody to respond. Look back. Last 60, 90 days. Just in your memory, unless you're like me and you got it all written down. I keep logs on every bit of business building activity I do. Look back. Can you say that every single day without fail, you up until now for the last 90 days that you've done a minimum of 2 business building reach outs every single day? Some of you might say yes, and some of you might be like, no, dude, I've gone 2 weeks out without doing a reach out. I've honestly, I mean, I come to these Zooms and it's been a month since I've done a reach out. And again, I'm not pointing my fingers at anybody. I don't know what the answer is, and I'm not asking for it. But to me, this is like one of the biggest game changers for you guys. And people in network marketing struggle with maintaining a degree of consistency. And it's literally the number one thing I hear from network marketers is their inability or their struggle to stay consistent, which it's not typically laziness. I'd say like the percentage of lazy people is small. You guys work pretty hard as it is and whatever you do for a living, but it's here. It's all the crazy jacked up stuff that goes on in here. Like, why would anybody listen to me? I've never made any money. I've come from a broke family. Like I don't deserve extra. I only have a high school education. This guy's not going to he's got a PhD. Why is a PhD going to listen to a dude with not even a GED? And so we fill our minds with so much garbage that we start selling ourselves short, and then we get into paralysis mode. So I'll tell you this, like the biggest battle that you need to win victory over is the battle between your ears. The mindset battle, like belief in yourself, belief in the business model. I mean, I think I can look at all of you guys, and I'm sure you guys have belief and conviction in the products you represent, right? Is that a yes? The ones I can see. I mean, I don't think you'd be here if you didn't dig the products that Essanté is putting out. And I would feel like if you really are into what Essanté is putting out, and you really like, I'm passionate about bringing green, clean, pure, organic stuff out into the world, getting the toxic chemical crap out of people's bodies, and you knew about Essanté and you were keeping your mouth shut, I would think you'd have a degree of guilt associated with that. Like, somebody's putting toxic stuff in their body and you've got a better solution, and you were so stuck in here worried about how somebody's going to judge you or perceive you or your own self-worth issues that you failed to say, look, man, I've got a solution for that. So look, I'm not saying this is easy. There's a battle that we all have to have victory over, and it's the battle within ourselves. But you guys represent a company, you represent a business model that can be life altering. And, everything that I've seen with what Michael does from a product development standpoint, I've said this numerous times on Zooms that I've been on, he puts out good stuff. And he's super focused on clean, green, toxic free. I can't remember how many times I've heard him say the words toxic free. You guys ever hear him say toxic free? How many times a day? Yeah, like it's like his middle name should be toxic free. Uh, but look, again, I when I come to these trainings, like I can, there's so much stuff I can share with you and talk about. Let me leave you with something real quick. Then I want to look at I'll look at the Q&A. If you're struggling to stay consistent, write this down. Maybe I'll type it. I'll type it in here. It'll be easier. I'm going to give, this is a free download of a training that I do on helping you to stay more consistent. Hang on one second. I got to put my glasses on. So here, it's pretty easy. It's toddfalcone.com/consistency. And by the way, Michael also referenced something. I'll just put that in there real quick. He referenced my little black book of scripts, which I just rewrote. If you're interested in taking a look at what that is, that's like the most comprehensive prospecting script book that you'll find in network marketing. It literally puts the words in your mouth for every possible situation that you find yourself in. You're prospecting somebody on Facebook, on Instagram, on LinkedIn, in person, on the phone, over email, at a party that you met, and you're like, how do I talk to this person? How do I segue this conversation into what I'm doing? That'll pretty much fill in all the blanks for you. So let me just scroll back through here. And by the way, if there was a question that was posted earlier, since I didn't look, since I was kind of focused, I'm going to scroll back through here real quick. Let's see here. Jane, what's up, Jane? Let's see. I think people need to know, it's what keeps people inside of a company as value. Do the products create value even without a compensation plan? What do you think? Yeah, well, first of all, that's the great litmus test, right? If you would continue to consume products, let's say in this case, Essanté's products, regardless of whether you earn a check or not, that's clearly a litmus test of the value of the products, at least as far as how they are represented to you. So, I mean, there's a lot of network marketing companies that probably couldn't say the same thing, where the moment that their check drops below the cost of their auto ship, they cancel their auto ship. But I mean, again, I don't know all of your products, but I'm pretty familiar with what you guys do. And again, you're putting out such good stuff. Like, I think the world needs to hear about it. And guess what? The world will never hear about it if you don't open up your mouth. If you don't give yourself some discipline, and then, like, again, if you don't know what to say, I can teach you what to say. Get the little black book. You will never be at a loss for, you'll never be like, dude, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to prospect people. Well, that might work up until now, but the moment you have the little black book in your hands, it's no longer an excuse. Well, I'm afraid. I get it. I was afraid. And the thing about fear is you have to be willing. It's not being without fear. It's having the fear, but doing it anyway. Having enough courage to face your fear one step at a time, one prospect at a time, one invite at a time, one exposure at a time. And I don't know if there's anybody here that is struggling with like fear related to prospecting. Maybe you can wink at me if that's you. I don't know. I mean, if you are, I get it. I can tell you from personal experience that if you're just willing to, one baby step at a time, face that fear, every single time you invite, expose, you do, the fear gets pushed away. And I mean, I would like, it's just, if I had a video of me from like 1989 and you could see me talk from in 1989 versus now, you'd be like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be rich. If that Falcone guy can go from there to there, I've got a chance. In fact, I'll tell you a funny story real quick. In 1991, I was at the Bonaventure Hotel in Los Angeles. I don't even know if the Bonaventure's still there or not. It's a huge hotel in LA. I haven't been there for years. And we're at this huge seminar, like 5,000 people at this event. And the guy that was running the event was like my original mentor. And he was like mesmerized. Like even to this, I'm not even close to what this guy was in his heyday. I'm like mesmerized by his power, his strength. I mean, the guy was making a ton of money in the company, had the largest organization in the company. He's running this event. And I'm like, just like honestly in awe. And during that event, I'm sitting next to my sponsor, and he, like, again, huge stage, big screens. I see up over on the screen on the right. Now, again, remember, this is 1991 in the Bonaventure Hotel. Remember the year. They put a video of him from 1986 doing a whiteboard presentation. Bad suit, big fat ugly tie, bad hair. His teeth were all jacked up. Apparently, he got his teeth fixed. And back then, the whiteboards, like the dry erase markers, they made noises. So every time you touch it, they squeaked. I don't know if anybody's old enough to remember the squeaky pens, but they made a pretty loud noise. So he's drawing circles on the board, drawing stuff up there. And I'm sitting here looking at the video and going, that dude's terrible. And then I'm looking at him over there and I'm like, wait, that's where he was in 86. And that's where wait, it was like one of the biggest epiphanies to me. I was like, oh my gosh, if he can go from there to there, even if I do 10% as good as he did, I have a fighting chance. And so it's interesting. A lot of times you see really successful people, and Natalie Cole has this quote: everybody sees the glory, but they don't know the story. Like right now, you might be going through something, and you know what? When you become incredibly successful, people are going to think you were an overnight success. Oh, it must have been easy for you, Dominic. Oh my gosh, it must have been easy. It was just simple for you. You can't relate to me, and you're like, dude, you have no idea, you know. And Ron's making tons of money, and then somebody's looking at Ron. Oh yeah, Ron, whatever. I can't do what you do. They just don't know what you've gone through. So the truth is, all of you guys can have success here if you're willing to pay the price of time, effort, time, time behind the wheel. Time behind the wheel is showing up for stuff like this, taking daily action, introducing people to what Essanté is from a product standpoint, from a business standpoint, and the repetitious exposure to that activity every single day. So let's see. Dominic has a question. Do you add the names from today to tomorrow's list to follow up to get their feedback? Okay, so real quick. If I reach out to you and I do an invite and I say, Dominic, look, I've got this business I'd love to show you. If I sent you this video, if let's say it was in the morning or the earlier part of the day, and I don't know what you guys have, but let's say it's a 10-minute video as an example, or you're sending them to a website. I would say let's say it's 10 minutes. When could you spend 10 minutes today looking at the website? If it's now, which is what, 6:20 my time, I would say, hey, Dominic, when in the next 24 hours can you take a look at that video so I can get back to you? And I'm going to ultimately try to get you to say, well, I can do it. I worked until 5 tomorrow. I can watch the video as soon as I get home from work. So sometime between 6 and 7, I'm like, okay, which works better for you for me to get back to you, 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock? I'll just put you in my calendar. I'll call you back then, because you want to get back to people in a timely manner. So if I get information to somebody, I'm going to be getting back to them as quickly as possible. Let me just see real quick if there's any other questions. Do we have any other questions before we wrap up? Let's see. Ron, Todd, is there value in putting together a marketing funnel system that will educate and help sift through prospects? It depends. I mean, if you have skill sets in that arena and you know how to put together a sales funnel, sure. If you're starting from complete scratch and you've never put a funnel together, no. It's a big learning curve. There's a lot involved in it. Generating traffic to that. So I would say if you already have some degree of skill there and you know how to create a funnel, like I created a funnel today. I'll just be frank with you. It's taken me about 7 days to do it. It's not even, and I'm good at it. And I've done this for years, and it takes me a while to put something that's super functional and works together. So, who do I call after warm market? Okay, good question. So I think social media is obviously a very that's low hanging fruit. The lowest hanging fruit, by the way, on social media are the people that are liking, commenting, and sharing your posts. Let's say you've got, I don't know, 1,000 friends on Facebook. The people that I'm going to reach out to are the people that I see liking, commenting, and sharing on my posts. And then, maybe I see somebody that I don't know. Maybe I see somebody on my news feed that is growing their own organic garden. Well, they're talking about their organic tomatoes. You don't think I'm going to reach out to you and say, "Hey, Janet, Todd Falcone, I know we're friends here on Facebook. I see that you got this beautiful tomato plant, this organic tomato plant. Are you how much into organic stuff are you? Oh my gosh, I eat, breathe, live, drink, sleep organic. Okay, boom, there's an opportunity. So I'm always looking for stuff like that. But the place that people go to, I would say almost immediately, even these days before warm market, is they go straight to social media, which can be a little difficult for some people. But if you've got good mentors that can guide you through how to do stuff on social media, you won't make the kind of common mistakes of like copy and pasting 72 people with the same exact message on the same day, and then you get blacklisted on Facebook or put in Facebook jail. But I would say that would be a place. Michael mentioned something like groups. I'll tell you real quickly because I know we're getting ready to run out of time. But Facebook groups are really interesting. I'll share with you something that's so I'm working with this guy who's been in network marketing for like almost as long as I have, but he's like a traditionalist. He's a phone guy. And about 4 or 5 years ago, he's like, bro, can you like, I need help. I have no social media game. I'm like, Freddie, are you serious? He goes, I'll pay you. And I'm like, okay. So Freddie paid me like 3 grand to teach him social media. And so I'm on a Zoom with him. And this is a great and I'll end with this because I know we're right at the bottom of the hour. So I'm like, okay, so I'm doing screen share. So just imagine you see the screen. You guys know how you can go search for groups in Facebook, right? So you go search for groups. And I asked Freddie, I said, what are you into? And he goes, I'm into my family. I'm like, bro, I love a man who's into his family. Other than your family, what are you into? He's like, well, I was bodybuilder my whole life, and I'm kind of like trying to check out this vegan thing. I'm like, perfect. So I go up in the search bar and I go vegan groups or vegan. I just typed in vegan, and this group comes up. It says Vegan Beginners 101, and it had like 63,000 people in that group. And it's a private closed group. I added myself. I had to answer a couple questions because it's a private group. And a couple minutes later, the admin approved me. I go, watch this. I didn't go in there and as soon as I got in the group, hey, anybody want to know about our Essanté organics? No, 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 no. I went in there and I did this post. I said, hey guys, thanks so much for letting me in the group. Former meat eater here. Don't hate on me, but I'm checking out this whole vegan thing. Is there any former meat eaters here that turned into vegans, and how has that been for you? Within minutes, hundreds of responses inside of the group. Now, that's not my free permission to go prospect all of them. But then next thing you know, I had people friend requesting me. And they're like checking me out because some new person who's contributing value to a group or is curious inside of a group, they're looking at you. What do you think people do these days when they meet you in person? First thing they do is they go Google you to see if you've ever been put in jail, or they go and they find you on Facebook and they go search you and they go find out, who is this person? My wife and I met a group of people like a couple weeks ago. And as soon as we were home in bed, we're like, okay, what was that person's name? And we were trying to find them on Facebook and Instagram to learn more about these people. So Facebook groups that find something that you have a genuine interest or desire in or an expertise in, and be a valued contributor to those groups. So look, guys, here, let me just say this before I wrap. Whatever you do tonight, even if you're consistent, go download that free consistency training that I gave you. Why? Because next week, there's something that I'm doing that I don't want you to miss. First of all, I want to make sure that you guys get access to this 11-part video training series that I wrapped up today. And if you don't go download that, I won't have the ability to email that to you next week. So number one, you're going to get the free consistency training, which is cool. But the stuff, the value that you'll get out of that free training series that we're going to release on Monday, you don't want to miss it. It'll help you make more money. So anyhow, JJ, Michael, appreciate the time. I know I went a little over the top of or bottom of the hour. Appreciate you guys. Back to you.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much, Todd. It's always a pleasure to have you on and help us out, and we look forward to even more of these. Guys, I don't know. I mean, I can't, it was phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. And yeah, the things I've learned, I learned things all the time and things I get reminded of, just when Todd speaks. And I hope you guys took good notes. I know you guys took good notes and make that commitment, make that rule, make that for yourself. I did. I did exactly that. I've been around for 40 years and I did that. So, it's a very, very good thing to do. And, plan your work, work your plan. That's it. So, with that, I want to say again a huge, huge thank you to Mr. Todd and taking your time out to be here. And, guys, God bless you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your time for being here. And we value your time. We thank you. We're grateful. And God bless you. God bless your families. And you guys will see all of us again. We're very consistent with our broadcasts. Every Tuesday, we do something with the business. And on Thursdays, we do some trainings. And don't miss them. Don't miss them. And we thank you guys all for being here and for being a part of Essanté Organics. God bless you guys. And we'll see you again on another broadcast. Take care.
Thanks all.